everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I've got The Re-Up by Bilyeu and Juliette de Witt. This is published by Bistro Books in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. This is an autobiography of Bilyeu's time. It looks like he says 4 years or so that he was a drug dealer on the east coast of the United States, starting out with selling weed to students at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. and in that area. So it's a pretty interesting story. Like, this is just issue one of what will either be, according to them, either become a graphic novel or a series of single issues like this. I almost think this would probably sell better as a graphic novel, but probably if they're doing self-published or small runs like this, then it makes sense to do little books and see how far they can go with that. This is my first exposure to Bilyeu, but it looks like he's done some other books about some time in Amsterdam, called Chad in Amsterdam, so I don't know if those are also dealing with drugs or not, but this kind of peek into the world of the drug dealer is interesting to me. So this is one of those examples of, like, if you're going to do autobiography work, like, have done something interesting in life, you know, and this is very interesting. So it starts with him as I don't want to give away too much, but he's in the audio video department at Georgetown University and going there part-time as a student. So he makes like a good connection for the people, you know, because he knows a lot of people, but also has connections to drug dealers in the area from when he was younger. And so that's kind of what it's about, is just how he, without trying to, inherited this weed dealing business, and how that happens is all really interesting. I think that one of my favorite parts, just because in academia, that's what I do for a living, I'm a professor, is him talking about his job, which is just to troubleshoot like audio video stuff. And so he just hangs around on campus until some Abel Prize winning mathematician, you know, there's people that are like highest level in their fields can't figure out that they need to like turn on the projector, just turn on the power button, and it's his job to kind of go around and take care of all these like super genius people who are too stupid to turn on the computer. And like, I definitely have done that to my tech department before. I mean, I'm usually a little bit more tech savvy, I hope, but we also we rely on our tech people where I teach at Shelton State in Alabama. So it's just funny. That cracked me up because there is a lot of, like he says, their acumen doesn't usually lend itself to pragmatism, and that's very, very true. Also, we're just overwhelmed and our brains are fried because we have to talk to, you know, however many students we have, that many people a day we got to juggle. So I thought that was funny. And then just going through like the mechanics of a drug deal and things like that, it just makes for an interesting story, and you meet some interesting characters along the way. I enjoy the art in the book. It's good functional cartooning. They kind of look like they're intentionally making it look like it's old bad, like screen tone. You know, it's not poor printing. It's an intentional thing where they've gone and messed up the screen tone and made it look got the look of like an older type of book. And then I really like how they're toning in this second green everywhere, because dealing with money and weed, that seems appropriate. So you have this two-tone. This looks like it might be a risograph. I didn't look at that to see if it says how it was printed. No, it doesn't say, but it looks like it might be a risograph. Either that or it's just a two-color offset print. But the printing is really good. All the lines hold up really well, and then any of the kind of like funky with the screen tone is obviously intentional and adds to the effect of the book. So I really enjoy that. I really enjoy the look of it. I think it's consistent all the way throughout. It's an interesting story. I definitely am like sucked in and want to hear more about it. He gives a little bit in the back, you know, a little bit more. It's also, he acknowledges that it's funny to do a book about this now because he was doing this from 2004 to 2008, and now, you know, like in most places, you can get weed legally. I mean, like me coming from California 2 years ago, they'd probably get crazier shit out of the dispensary than you could ever buy off the street. And even here in Alabama, where marijuana is illegal, you can get a medical dispensation for it. you can still go buy this Delta 8 and Delta 10, and I've even seen them selling the Delta 9, which is the regular stuff, at just smoke shops. You could just go in and get Delta 8, which is pretty much the same stuff. It's just in some legal loophole. And I'm assuming if that's the case in Alabama, that's probably the case in most states where marijuana is still illegal. So it is kind of funny to see like this, where all of these, you know, criminal activities that have to be involved in just to get a hold of some weed. And he talks about that in the back, that it's like a totally different thing now, and how kind of silly the whole, you know, weed being a legal thing is, but alcohol legal, and, you know, all of that. So it's interesting, but it does feel like a bit of a peek into the past. But I think especially right now, as more and more places are legalizing marijuana, it's interesting to get that peek at the past, so you can be like, oh, you know, like you could go to a store that looks like an Apple store and get some weed, or you could go like through all of this dangerous drug dealing. Am I going to get arrested dealing with shady characters? And I think that peek back to what it was even just like 10 years ago is interesting, like kind of contribution to the argument about the legalization of marijuana and other drugs. So I found this to be a very interesting project, and I really hope that it gets completed. You know, I'll definitely keep buying it. I do think this would be really great as a graphic novel, but it has to come out in short pieces first, and then as a graphic novel, that's great as well. I'll buy it either way. So definitely I would recommend this book. Recommend people, you know, follow the link I'll put in the description and go get your copy of this before it sells out, and hopefully that will keep the project going. And then if you like what we do here on the channel and you want to help us keep going, there's two ways to do that. One is through Patreon. That's always super appreciated. We have like some fun little extra tiers depending on how much you want to pledge, but we appreciate the support there. That gives me and Sean a little extra cash to buy books with and stuff to keep the channel going. And then the best thing you can do is support what Sean's doing as a publisher through Living the Line, the publishing company, buying the books that he has put out and that are coming out. So we'll take a look at a few of those now. The Abolition of Man is a 5-issue mini-series done by myself and Sean in collaboration with the Midjourney AI. What you're seeing here is the cover to issue 1 and the first couple pages of issue 1. This first issue, we fed it an essay by C.S. Lewis, and this is just the imagery that the computer spat back at us. Issues 2 and 3 are a narrative, starting with the story that I wrote when I was 21, and then Sean's going to write issue 3, picking up where I left off. In this one, I'm kind of trying to force the AI to give me the images I want, and then doing some tweaking in Photoshop to get these kind of colored looks on it. For issue 4, we're turning the task of writing over to the AI as well. So the AI has written the script, and then we've just put that into the Midjourney AI, and it's turned out art. The script and the art is some of the absolutely most horrific stuff I've ever seen. We're a bit scared to even publish this issue. And I don't have any art to show for it yet, but Sean and I have decided to do a 5th issue of Abolition as well, because we have someone who we're really, really excited to have on board, providing an essay for that 5th issue that we'll illustrate, and we'll announce more about that soon. Make sure to like, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell.